Hey guys, Giggity Game come back with another episode of Pokemon Duel on the channel. And in today's video, I basically wanted to show you guys everything that's in my arsenal, um everything that I have in terms of figures and everything. So um I figured I don't really have any other ideas. So let's go ahead and show off my complete collection of Mons. These are currently my cubes and everything. It really don't matter. I'm going to go over a couple of them. I have the shiny Mega Rayquaza, which came with a player pass. I believe that was either this month or last month. Pretty cool. Two UX Pikachus, because they gave out a second one this month with the player pass. I have a UX Darkrai, a Mega Darkrai, sorry. No, just a UX version of Darkrai, which I have used 6 times. Nothing. Double Arceus, which one of them is maxed out, one of them I have not touched yet. I have the Thunderous Therian form, and I have the Tornadoes Therian form, which I have not touched yet. And I got this off the player pass, the Mega Diancie. Never touched it. Mega Bombasnow, got him off player pass, used him once. Mega Latios, which I actually just pulled out of a blue booster over the weekend or Friday night. Yeah, on my way to the concert, I was playing and I pulled that, which was pretty cool. 2 Mega Sharpedos, which I use quite often. Mega Manectric, which I barely have done anything with, even though that's a big chunk of the meta at the moment. Mega Mawile and Heracross, which I use Mawile all the time. Heracross somewhat. I have a Mega Steelix, which I use not that often at all. I have 2 Mega Aerodactyls. I have not touched that one. This one I've used a bunch over the past couple of days. I'm really enjoying using the Mega Aerodactyl. Mega Pinsir I've used in a couple of decks because I like his ability where you can't tag him, which I might try to come up with a cool idea with that. Mega Kangaskhan is honestly a little... he's not good. He's not really that good, to be honest. Mega Alakazam I used a little bit. I have all the evolutions that have came out so far. The Ultra Necrozmas, I have 2 of them because 2 of them came with the player pass. I have 2 of the Blazion. I don't remember how to pronounce them. One of the Stack Attack is 3 Mega Metagross, 2 of the Necrozma, Dawnwings Necrozma, and 2 Dustmanes. I do not have a silver one yet, which is driving me nuts because I really want one. I have 1 of the Garantinas, 2 of the which one is this one? Naganadel, which I used Naganadel a little bit. Poyopole I used a little bit. I have 2 Mega Rayquazas, the regular forms. Haven't used them in a while. Necrozmas I always have in my deck just in case, because I'm always running the Dawnwings. Guzzlord, which I never use. Caldeos, never use. Primal Kyogres, never use. Regigigas, used barely. Mega Lucario, somewhat I could use. Mega Tyranitar is going to be getting a buff, so you'll see a video on him next week. I have used Kartana a little bit with the crack deck, but I have not used the crack deck in a while. I have 3 Celesteelas, barely use them. Xurkitree, barely use them. Mega Gyarados I used in the Gym Cup, that's pretty much it. Mega Banette, really haven't used. Sableye, really haven't used. The Absols I used for a little while, back with the triple Mega Absol deck. Haven't used them since. Pheromosa, very little. I have 3 of the Mega Mewtwo X's. Have not really used them. Buzzwold, I never used. I think I pulled him, got lucky once. Mega Mewtwo Y, used a little bit. Nihilego. very little. I haven't really run Ultra Beast that often. One Mega Altaria, barely used. Mega Gardevoir, Mega Gengar. Gengar I used a little bit. Skizor, barely used. I used him very little. I don't know why I chain leveled them up to level 10. Or leveled them up to level 10. That's kind of dumb. Mega Sceptile I've used a bunch because he was part of my grass deck. Mega Beedrill never used. Mega Blastoise barely ever. Charizard very little at 20 matches. Venusaur, Mega Venusaur. Tapu Koko is gonna be the first. Shiny Tapu Koko is gonna be my first one. Donzia never used. Got him from Player Pass. Guja never used. Used him for a couple videos. That's pretty much it. Got 4 of these guys. The Tyrantum, have not used them. They're not that good, to be honest. I got all their Thundurus and Tornadus. We're just waiting for Landis or something like that. I'll do some type of cool video with them eventually. Haxorus I used a little bit. I remember paying 20 bucks for them. Barely use them now. Nipples I used often. Salamence, barely used. And Absol, I used them back with the triple Absol decks. Banette, very little. Sharpedos, you know the deal with them. Manectric, very little. I'm not really a big fan of the electric decks, so that's why I barely used them. Mawile I use quite often. Actually, I use Mawile all the time. Celebi, I use all the time. Heracross I used a little bit with the triple Heracross deck. So, he's good. Steelix, barely ever. Aerodactyl, I've been running lately, really like running them. Gyarados for the Gym Cup. Pinsir for Mega Pinsir, very little. Kangaskhan, never used. Alakazam, nipple deck a little bit. Milotic, I used them back in the day with the water decks. Terminator, whatever. Barely ever. Arcanine, I used them for a little bit back in the day when that worked. Registeel, never used. I used Kyurem a little bit with the ice decks. Reggie's never really used. You guys know the deal with Lurantis. I used him a lot with the grass decks. Then we have the Shaman Land form. I do not have a Shaman Sky form. I have not really had the use in getting them, so I never did. Electros, didn't really use them that often. Ampharos, very little. I don't have a Mega Ampharos anymore because I lost him in a video. Hunchcrow, never used. Driftloom, very little. Zoroark, I used somewhat back in the day. Marshadow, I used back when he was actually really good. He's not as good nowadays, so I don't run him. Beware, very little. Toxapex, very little. Cerealia. Most of these guys I got for videos and then never used them afterwards. Altaria, same deal. Drampa, same deal. Shiny Ho-Oh, I don't think I ever used. The only reason why they're chained up is because I pulled multiple. Shiny Metagross, never. Shiny Rayquaza, a couple times. Never touched the Alolan. Magearna's getting a buff, so you might see him soon. Phoenix used to use with water decks, never used the Primaveras. Bulu used with grass deck late grass deck era. Incineroar, barely, I never used them. Decidueye used to run with the grass team. Chandelure, barely. Gengar with the Mega Gengar Coco Rush days. Lunala used to use all the time. Skizor, never really used. Not Lele's, never really used. Sigalios used to use a bunch back in the beginning, like when I first hit 4K, he was in my deck, so I did have use for him. Magnezone used a little bit. Vikavolt, not really. Coco, not really. Sword and Shield got for a video. I've never used Noivern. Pumpkaboo I used a little bit. No, this is not Pumpkaboo. This is Gorgist. Never really used. Trevenant used a little bit. Not really. Used to use him for a bunch. Malamar back when he actually was relevant. Virizion, you guys know the deal with Virizion. I used him a shit ton. Terrakion used when I hit 4K, but never really used Cobalion. Seismitoad never really used. Blaziken's another one of the most popular ones I used. So, and then so is Sceptile. It's over 6,000 duels. Dragonite never really used. The legendary birds used them for a video or two. That's pretty much it. Magmortar, not really. Reshiram, back with the Resh Step days. I used to use them a lot. Typhlosion, never. Delphox, never. Entei, barely ever. Latios, never really used. Genesect, never really used. Raikou, back with the Electric Era days. Very, very little. Zek, very little. Besides the Zek Resh days. Suicune, Ice decks, barely used them. Torterra, barely used. Deoxys, I never was a big fan of the Deoxys decks. Heatran, never used. Manaphy used him a little bit in the water decks, water era. Back with the water, grass, and fire era. Deoxys, never really was a big fan of. Gardevoir, not really. It's whatever. Infernape, never really used. Aggron, never really used. Lucario, used a little bit, but meh. Empoleon, never really used. Garchomp is getting a buff, so we're going to be using him a little bit in the next... he'll be probably one of the first videos we do with the update. Rhyperior, never really... Rhyperior I use all the time now. Let's see. Electrovir, used him a lot. Never used him. Greninja used a bunch. Never really used Swampert, never really used Chestnut. Yveltal was in part of Dark decks when I experimented with those. Xurkitree, X-Clan represent, but I never really used them. Giratina, never really used. Besides chaining him up level 10, only 145 for Keldeo original form. Snorlax is getting a hell of a buff. I'm excited to see that. So is the Zygarde, so I'm excited to see that as well. I just wish those two got an extra MP. That would make them a lot more useful. Rayquaza's used a little bit. Mew's used to use all the time. Blastoise, never. Mewtwo, never. Venusaur, Groudon, never. Darkrai, never. I have most of these for alligators I pulled in the last gym cup. Palkia, never really used. Charizard, never really used. Kyogre, back when he was actually good, never really used. Ho-Oh, meh. Lugia, never really used. And Metagross, never really used. And then we get into the rare figures, which I'll just slowly scroll through if I see any of them to mention. Abra, I used a lot. I do have the shiny version of Sylveon, Umbreon, Espeon, 2 shiny Jolteons, and a shiny Vaporeon, along with 2 shiny Eevees, and Growlithe. And then just a bunch of the, I guess, basic figures that everybody has. Got some Rotoms in there. bunch of aliens because I used to run the aliens a shit ton. Nothing really too special with the rares. Just gonna slowly scroll through them. Most of the stuff I have to like clean up anyway, but one night I'll take the time and I guess clean up everything. I got a bunch of the spirit tombs back when he used to be good. How many duels do you have? Almost 5,000 duels for Kabuskin, Grovile, and just a bunch of figures, bunch of Sharpedos. And yeah, I'm not going to bore you guys with all the rares and all the uncommons. I just wanted to show you all of the EX, UXs I had. I hope this was a cool, interesting video for you guys to see. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys did, make sure you like, subscribe if you're new. If you have any recommendations for any deck builds, those are all the figures I have. So if you want to try to create something and have fun with it, I might be able to feature it in a video. But that's going to do it for today's video. And until next time, peace out, guys.